We're back with the Draft Labs A-Dam Tournament Series. Oops. Season 2, Week 6. Set 1, Match 2. Counter Instigate 0. PNG 1. Alpha Squad versus Omega Pulsar Squad. Omega Pulsar with a few subs, as a matter of fact. Love Pig and Dyer's Eve. Counter Instigate going with a very tanky composition here. They're definitely going to be able, they all can kind of give each other some sort of damage negation. Morgana's shields, Maokai's ultimate, Alpha Falpha's armor bonuses. All three of those champions can give each other something, which is really nice. So they have a lot of kind of like AoE buffs going around. Auras, you could say, an aura comp. And all those auras are defensive. Counter Instigate get to the brush first. Seems as though it was kind of conceded. Counter Instigate weren't to the brush very fast. So PNG, they were kind of standing around. They probably could have contested it here, but they're going to get put into a defensive position right off the bat. Wave clear for Counter Instigate is lacking, you guys. That's one thing they did not take, and that's another thing that Caitlyn would have brought here, is the wave clear. I do think that Jace was not the best pick for this situation. Their wave clear deficit is going to be huge, especially with the copious amounts that PNG are bringing here. A couple of trades right off the bat. Nothing too crazy happening. Nice shield there from Rethron. GameSpy is fairly tanky. You have a Catalyst start from both GameSpy and Rethron. Double Dorans for Love Pig, gonna go for that early game build. Nice bind there from Rethron. Gato God should be able to capitalize. Actually, that's not the case. Chain CC. Nice. Chain CC is good. We like the chain CC. That's one thing that Tarek does really well, is chaining into CCs. And healing, of course. Milkman goes in for a double stun. Nice lockdown comes in from Lux right after. This trade's going really in nobody's favor, in my opinion, especially with Alpha Alpha healing right afterwards. But we also have Alistair heals on the side of PNG, so there is sustain on both sides. But neither of the two heals are going to be that great until the level 9. We can assume that Alpha Alpha is going to be putting points into that heal. Strider's locked down, guaranteed into some damage. I love this Maokai skin, man. That's a dope Maokai skin. It was not very good back before his visual update, his VU, but now it's awesome. Now he really looks like a Twisted Trent, and he's super scary. Reminds me of like Dia de los Muertos. You know what I mean? As this finals, Lachlan says, no, this is not finals, my friend. We run a seasonal tournament style here, so it's actually just contributing to the team points, the points for each squad, based on our team stats, which you can find down in our panels. Nothing crazy going down early here. The tanks from Counter Instigate are kind of keeping a forward position, so they're kind of bodying away the members of Counter Instigate, or PNG rather, so it's enabling the teammates from Counter Instigate with low wave clear to actually clear out the waves before PNG can get to them, which is good. So PNG, they're not going to allow the turret to be damaged, but at least they're being put into a defensive position. Different from what we saw in the last match. PNG was forward all game last match. Or at least the early game they were forward, pretty much the entire time. Is there a prize? No, unfortunately there is no prize yet. You know, hopefully in the future we'll be able to implement some prizing. If not, maybe Riot Prizing if they end up succumbing to my demands of allowing a 4v4 Riot Prize tournament. But Scilab's prizes, prizing will come in the future. What we'll do is we'll host this seasonal style of tournament series, and then the end of the season, about 10 weeks into the season, we will tally up the scores, and the top 2 teams will go against each other head-to-head in a final series, a best-of-5 finals, to determine who wins out the season. It's funny watching competitive ARAM. It's actually competitive ADAM, my friend. Draft mode, my friend. Draft mode. Nice positioning from Rethron, taking control of the bush. There's the continued crowd control and Dire Z, forcing him into a lot of poke. Gato Gods is doing a good job of holding on to his Qs until his Qs and his Es, until the crowd control drops into an enemy player so that he can get him guaranteed. Doing a great job of that. Seems as though Counter Instigate really are taking minimal damage here. GameSpy wants to make it engage. He's going to get knocked back into the tower, man. He got impatient, forcing his own flash. And now Counter Instigate have no choice but to back off. That was a misplay on GameSpy's part. I don't know what he thought he was going to find by jumping into the enemy team like that, especially without an ultimate. And now right before the level 6, 3 members of Counter Instigate are all chunked down. Too low for Alpha Alpha to be able to heal him back up in time for the level 6 to come. So That was a nice cue from Gato Gods, but it's still not going to find them enough. No wonder all the OP champs are there. Well, Lachlan, if the entire match is comprised of OP champions, are any of them actually OP anymore? That's the question. They're only OP in random when one guy out of the 10 gets them. They're not OP anymore in draft when everybody had the same opportunity to grab them. Right, right. No level 6s quite yet, and actually there's been a decent bit of sustain from Counter Instigate's side, so they do have a good bit of health, but now they're respecting. When they lost that health, they were forced to go back, give a little bit of space to PNG. Nice lockdown to Gato Gods. No level 6 for Dyer's Eve, unfortunately, so can't capitalize on that one. Here comes the engage. GameSpy jumps on a Rethron. He's taking lots of damage. Ultimate drops by Rethron, but nobody is stunned down. Lots of flashes used. Milkman also has his ultimate popped. Ultimate from Dyer's Eve catches 2, but no kills quite yet. Now Love Pig, he's locked down, taking damages. Gato Gods goes in, tries to capitalize, but another flash, you guys, and now Counter Instigate gonna back off, but first blood, and a double kill goes to PNG. Actually, not a double kill for any single player, but 2 kills go to PNG right away. The late ultimate from Love Pig, as Counter Instigate were trying to disengage, was perfect. It hit 3 members, took 2 low enough to get kills. Actually got one low enough to get a kill and secured a kill on the other. Now PNG Strider, Milkman, Love Pigs, and Dyer's Eve, all 4 members of PNG making a dive. They pick up a kill on Alistair. GameSpy not too low. Rethron also making a decent snare here. Strider's gonna fall, and that dive was unsuccessful in my opinion. Gave up too many kills. They needed to pick up more. A 2-for-1 dive. I mean, I guess it's kind of successful because they wanted to get those executions, but that was a great opportunity for them. They had a double kill, great opportunity for them to get some damage on the tower, and now they're simply going to lose more members. A lot of marked dashes available on Counter Instigate's Alpha side. So when you try to make a tower dive like that and you kind of overstay your welcome at the tower, then they will be able to capitalize and they will get kills. You're not going to be able to disengage from them that easily, and there you go. GameSpy, he gets his execution. Counter Instigate, in my opinion, coming out on top of that. They didn't lose any health to the tower. They picked up a couple of extra kills, and they also lost a member who's going to be able to go back, buy new items, and get a full health bar here. So PNG maybe a little bit overzealous on that tower dive. Now, if PNG can hold on to this forward position here, they're going to be in a good spot because they have lots of wave clear, good poke as well. They want to get that position back. Even if there's sustain and tanks on the side of Blues, on Counter Instigate's side, you still want to be forward. You still want to be the one throwing down your poke spells because they should be able to outpoke the heals and the sustain just from Tarek alone. Because Tarek doesn't have the most heals ever, and his cooldowns are going to be reduced. Or his cooldowns are going to be fairly high unless he gets them reduced from auto attacks. Let's see where he's putting his points at. He's got his points in 2, 3. Where are his points? 2 points in the heal, 3 in the shatter. So he's actually giving his teammates armor rather than getting the heals up. And he's got 2 points in it, so it's going to be healing a little bit, but not what I would have expected. I would have rushed it myself. Nice stun there, disengage. There's a lot of CC available on Counter Instigate side. A lot of really easily hit CC. Gato God's the only one who's lacking it, but that's another thing that makes it okay to pick a Jace in a situation like this. Now, like I mentioned, I think his long-standing damage is going to hurt them later on when the team fights, last as long as they want them to. But right now, his poke damage is going to work out really well for them, and it has been so far. Because he can capitalize on all the kind of point-and-click CC that CI has. Once again, 8 minutes and 38 seconds in, and this early game really isn't going anywhere. Similar to what we saw in the last match. Towers haven't taken much damage. A lot of respect for the enemy teams coming out from both sides. Gato God's locked down. Not going to capitalize. He actually throws a queue of his own hits too. Level 9 now dropping for both sides. That means both teams hitting that power spike. The next 2 levels, or 3 levels rather, 9, 10, and 11 are power spikes for both sides. It's going to be heals for Alpha Alpha Alpha. Actually, it's really going to be poke for Gato Gods. Damage from those little minion things from GameSpy. Most likely damage from Rethron or damage negation from Rethron. I haven't seen what spells he's been taking here. And then for PNG, they're going to be hitting even larger of a power spike because his poke spells all around. Strider, he's locked down, takes a lot of damage. Rethron goes in, wants to take him out, but doesn't find it as he's got shields from Lux. And now Counter Instigate disengage again. So right now, PNG in the advantage with the level 9 power spike. They've got rank 5 in all their most important spells, so their damage percentage-wise, is going to be about as large now as it will be throughout the entire match. Especially as these tanks start getting even more tankier and tankier. Neither team really wanted to make anything big happen. We're not seeing our usual compositions here. These are very different comps from what we've seen in the past. You have a super tank kind of aura squad coming out from Counter Instigate. They don't have a crazy large amount of engage, but they do have enough CC to kind of hold their own here and make long-lasting team fights, you know, kind of work, slide into their favor just by surviving them. And then you have actually, I'd say PNG is one that we've seen before for sure. This is a very retro composition. Pokers and a disengaging kind of sustainer support champion. Alistair always was a good champion on this map. Even before, now he's even better with the Mark Dash, of course. Nice bind there from Rethron. I'm not going to find too much from it, though. Good damage from Gato Gods. Only had one death, so hasn't been able to go back and buy as much damage as I'm sure he'd like to. Same goes for Rethron. Rethron needs to die and go back and start up that Rod of Ages. Got to get that thing stacking as soon as possible. Should be looking for some sort of execution here fairly soon. Only issue is that's going to be losing a lot of the range and a good bit of the wave clear for blue side as well. Here's an engage from Milkman, but was only looking for some marked ass isolation. Doesn't really find too much of it, and now so tanky Counter Instigate is, and they just don't take damage. I mean, there's no way for this poke comp to whittle them down. They've got the heals, they've got the tankiness, and they got the damage negation that they need in order to survive, and that's exactly what they're doing. This could be another long match, you guys. Here comes GameSpy. He wants to make something happen. Has his ultimate pop. He's knocked up, disengaged. Ultimate drop by Ziggs, but doesn't really find too many targets. Here comes Rethron as well. Flashes forward, gets 4 chains. How many stuns will he find? He ends up getting 2. Rethron gets a killing spree. Lux falls right away. Now Milkman forced to disengage. He's going to fall shortly after. Double kill now. The ultimate dropping by Love Pig, but Flash is available. GameSpy, the only member to fall from Counter Instigate. So this one turns out as a 1 for 2 in favor of Counter Instigate. And lots of their members healthy here. Maokai had to be focused down with a lot of damage and a lot of spells just to take him down, so not really too much damage going to any of the members. And now, while it may be a victory for Counter Instigate, it's not enough of a victory, in my opinion. Just like what we saw in the last game to merit them creating some sort of large advantage here. You might end up having to wait 18 minutes in again until we see the first tower go down, you guys. Strider, now he's locked down. That should be a good opportunity for Gato Gods to get his full combo off. Strider looks like he just wants to end up getting an execution here. That was the case. You have Dyer's Eve coming back into the fight. So they have enough of what they need in order to be able to stay alive here. Gato Gods, he's got some damage now, you guys. Level 11. Just about the end of that power spike. And he's dealing really good damage with those Qs. Only issue is that he's the only one dealing damage. I mean, that's really it. You know, if you're gonna go with the squad that has as little damage as Counter Instigate has, you got to bring somebody who can really hyper carry the end game. Jinx or Caitlyn. You know, you got to bring in a hyper carry, and Jace is just not that champion. He's gonna start falling off really soon. He's gonna hit a plateau for the next couple of levels, and he's gonna start falling off at about level 15. If we make it that far, of course. Milkman locked down. GameSpy jumps onto Strider to try to start this fight. Alpha Falfa's in the fight as well. Has the ultimate pop, but doesn't find enough damage. It's just not dealing enough damage to merit anybody else going in. So right now, another disengage from Counter Instigate, and all 4 members, all 8 members on the map, safe once again. Odd composition from Counter Instigate, man. Different from anything we've ever seen. Once they get tanky, I mean, once we get in this late game and they're super tanky, they're going to be in a really good spot, man. They're just going to be able to play aggressive all the time, make tower dives, jump on any champions they want. And then there won't be really enough that PNG can do. Now, Milkman in the late game, I expect, is going to have to really have his eyes set on Gato Gods and make his disengages, make his headbutt solely there for Gato God, because without Gato Gods, the damage is a little bit too low. Milkman, easy kill for him. The ultimate from Jinx actually goes through and ends up snagging Gato Gods. He's left low. PNG are on top of this fight right before it even starts, rather. Alpha Alpha's taking damage from Love Pigs, and he's going to end up going down here. Gets a Mark Dash, but still doesn't have the damage to take anybody out. 2 for 0 for PNG. They started that fight out well, and Gato Gods, now he's dropped by by Love Pig. a great little series of events here for PNG. They get the uncontested siege where Jinx works so well. And they're going to get the first tower of the game down 14 minutes in. They're going to be able to get a little bit of siege on the next one as well. Morgana's making her way back, but that doesn't merit any sort of back off or any sort of respect from PNG. They got to move forward. They have a full minion wave underneath this tower. They got a siege here, but no, Rethron by himself is going to force them to back off. The respect here is uncanny, you guys. AMAM would not be giving this kind of respect to the enemy team. Now, and when I say respect, I mean like space in between the champions. Nice bind there. Lovepigs is able to capitalize. Now he's going under, looking for a sacrifice. Ends up getting it, but giving up the kills to Gato Gods. That's only his third kill of the game, you guys. The really only ones he's gotten have been from the sacrifices made by members of Team PNG. That's a big play from PNG, you guys. That's really big for them. They got the first tower down. They've created a lot of space for them to work with. If they can use their wave clear to create another pick, or if they can use their wave clear to push back on the enemy base again, they're going to be in a good spot. Now, Gato Gods, after having gone back, has a Brutalizer. Now he has a Last Whisper, and I'm not sure what he's building into next. Maybe an Infinity's Edge. Tough to say. Or potentially a Bloodthirster. That wouldn't be a bad idea for him, considering the amount of poke. Some sustain would be a really good thing for him right now. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if he's building into a Bloodthirster right now. And is gonna hold on to that pickaxe. He needs to transfer that, translate that BF sword into a Bloodthirster, because there's so little damage going on to him because his tank lines are playing such a great front line that he's going to be able to get that shield up really easily, and he's going to be able to get the sustain back up if he ends up taking a little bit of damage. Now Dire Steve is stunned, takes damage, not bound out. Milkman ends up tanking that one up. And now PNG once again forced in defensive position. If they can create another kind of situation like they did in that last fight, they're going to be able to push forward even farther. This is going to be another game, just like the last one, you guys, where it goes real late and ends up, you know, just coming down to one misplay or one outplay that's going to win it, in my opinion. We respect other teams. Well, I mean, yeah, I didn't mean necessarily like disrespect. What I meant respect was by, you know, the space that they're being given. You know, their hesitation, really. AMAM wouldn't hesitate. That's what I meant. Yeah, AMAM, they respect other teams. Of course they respect teams. I didn't want to give them a bad vibe by saying that. Milkman looking for a knockup. Doesn't end up finding it. No headbutts either. Alpha, he's locked down, taking damages. Dire's Eve is dealing lots of damage, but Alpha has the armor to be able to handle Lovepig right now. Or, excuse me, I meant Lovepig for both of those phrases. Here comes the ultimate. Only hits Gato Gods, deals minimal damage. Alpha is still taking damage here. So many of the ranged members of PNG are staying safe here and staying healthy. There is no real lockdown coming in from the backlines from Counter Instigate. Here comes Rethron, finally gets one. Gonna try to make another engage. Dire's Eve and PNG Milkman are both gonna be stunned down. First kill falls to Counter Instigate. Lux is down. Now Alpha, he's taking damage, but he's able to heal himself back up. Gato Gods, the long-lasting team fight working in in CI's favor. As the tanks were just too tanky, man. PNG wanted to stick around for that team fight for a little bit too long. It seems like they're the ones that got a little bit impatient there and wanted to follow up on that team fight where even with half health, even with 50% health bars available for the members of CIA, that they're still going to be able to last just as long as Team PNG with full health bars. So PNG wanting to follow up on that team fight, thinking that they were in even health terms with the enemy team, just because they've kind of had even percentages, was not a good decision, and they got punished for it really hard. Nice re-engage there from Rethron. Ooh, nice ultimate from Dire's Eve. Catches 3, Alpha going right back in. Pops everything he's got, heals himself back up, picks up 1, secures another for his team, but he does fall. Game Spy. Now getting headbutted back, and Lovepigs is dealing with the Maokai very easily. Here comes Gato Gods. Flashes to follow Jinx's flash. Secures another kill, and CI, they're doing a really good job, you guys. 18 minutes in, we're approaching the late game. The tanks are going to be able to deal damage. Morgana's going to, you know, she's got a Void Staff, or what is that, rather? She's got an Abyssal Scepter. She's got a Rod of Ages that's charging up. Maokai's got a Rod if he builds into a little bit more damage later on. Tarek is really the main tank for his squad here. I think that Jace made an error in his build. Tear of the Goddess is a very key item on Jace. The burst damage that he has with his QE poke in cannon form is unreal with more mana. I agree. I actually really agree, Pazurus, and I don't think it necessarily comes down to the burst damage that it gives. I think it really comes down to the DPS that it provides a Jace. Going for full damage like this, the build that Gato Gods has is an early game build, an early to mid game build. In the late game, if he doesn't have that more mana, he's not going to be in a very good, you know, he's not going to deal as much damage as he could. And this game was destined to go late from the very beginning. considering that we had the same exact team composition coming out from PNG and a full tank, full frontline squad with very little siege and very like little kill potential in the early game coming out from CI. They should have expected this one was going to go late, and Gato Gods really should have built accordingly. And considering that he was the only one dealing damage in the early game, if he deals a little bit less, it doesn't matter because PNG were going to be able to sustain it no matter what. Here comes a potential tower dive from Counter Instigate, exactly what they should be doing to pick up an easy kill on a Jinx. She's down, that's the main damager of PNG. They're taking so little damage, even though they're underneath the tower. Flash forward from GameSpy secures the next kill. Milkman trying to do what he can, but is not able to do too much. Gato Gods goes back in, he's dealing decent damage to him. Strider the only one left to help him out. Now Milkman might survive here, that's not the case. He takes damages from Gato Gods. Rethron gets the execution, and now Alfalfa is going to take up this tower, and Gato Gods should be here to secure this tower. They need to take this down here and get an inhibitor. PNG Strider trying to disrupt, does a decent job of it, and now the second tower of the game, third tower rather, of the game is going to fall in CIA's favor. This tank squad working out well in the late game. Jinx ultimate comes in, but a little bit late in my opinion. And now these two tanks going to just kind of body their way in and take down this turret. They really should be able to. Here comes GameSpy again. Going to get the most damage on the Lovepix as he can. Alfalfa jumps in, gets the second stun. Gato Gods 1v1s the Lux, ends up taking her down. Shutdown gold from the Lux goes, from Lux getting a kill on Jace goes down. Maokai kills Jinx, Jinx kills Maokai. That's just kind of a crazy fest going on as this inhibitor was being sieged out by Alfalfa. He does take it down though, and the first inhib of the game goes down after 20 minutes, you guys. Now Alfalfa, he's got lots of tankiness, just gonna deal damage to this Nexus turret while he can. That's kind of awesome. Considering how little damage he's taking here, I don't even know if necessarily. Oh my god. Oh my god, how many turret hits can he take? He dies just in time too. That was so perfectly calculated. Now Rethron gonna be disengaging here. Should be easy. Milkman's not really on the way. And now Siege minions pushing in. This will help Counter Instigate make a tower dive underneath both of those Nexus turrets if they need to. Here comes GameSpy, just goes right in. On to PNG Strider, gonna get as much damage down as he possibly can. Strider's left in a really dumb situation here. Gato Gods helps secure that kill. It goes over to Rethron, and now GameSpy still alive, but still taking damages. Might end up going down here to Lovepig, so it turns out it's a 1-for-1 trade. But it is Strider down, and that's a lot of the wave clear out of the way. But I think Lovepigs would have been a more important kill because the Siege minions, or Super minions rather, are what Lovepigs are going to be able to deal with. Here comes Milkman. He wants to counter with some aggression of his own. 22 minutes now this match as we are into the late game, ladies and gentlemen. Another 3 or 4 minutes and we're in the hyper late game. I typically do not like going Bork on Jinx, but I think that with a full tank squad like CIA has in their possession, a Bork and an early Last Whisper might be a decent build path for Jinx so that he can, one, peel for himself a bit with the Bork active and also do damage to everyone who is in front of him rather than chasing after their backlines. Yeah, I mean, a hyper carry build, that's what you got to go for here. You know, a Bloodthirster isn't necessarily a hyper carry build, you guys. So I think that I don't know if this is necessarily what Lovepig should be going for here, but a Bork is definitely merited. Because Lovepigs hasn't been able to shred down the damage, to shred down these tanks fast enough quite yet, with just the Last Whisper available. Even a Brutalizer next, just more tank busting capacity for Lovepigs is crucial here because Lovepigs is the damager. Now GameSpy getting aggressed here. Dire Z falls first as GameSpy and Alfalfa. Or excuse me, it was Dire Z getting aggressed and Dire Z falls first. GameSpy gonna make the tower dive as well. So tanky CIA is. They can lock down whoever they want. Now Rethron pops the ultimate onto Strider. Is gonna end up getting the stun and the follow-up lockdown. Might even secure a kill. That is the case. Gato Gods follows up. He's got so much damage and he's able to take down, who is it? Lovepig for the final kill of the fight, potentially the final kill of the game, you guys. An ace, 4 for 0 falling in CIA's favor, and this should be an easy siege for them. They have so much health, they can cast, they can fight another fight after this one if they need to. Sorry for yelling right there, but this is exciting. They should be able to win the game here. Counter Instigate Alpha are going to end this match as a 1-1 tie between PNG Omega Eclipse. The tank squad prevails, you guys, and they really turned it up. The early game went too slow for this poke composition. It was, I don't want to say it was a fluke, but it was it was, I don't know, the last game went so, not this game, the last one went so long that it didn't really matter what kind of composition you had, it just mattered that you got some kills, okay? It mattered what happened in the fights. Now, in the early game, in both the last match and this one, I think that PNG weren't able to play it out the way they hoped. These poke comps with the disengagers like Alistair, like Braum, are early game compositions. They want to take down towers fast, create an advantage within 15 minutes of the match, a big enough advantage so that they can push and win the game later on down the road. They want to get siege minions, super minions rather, into the enemy base as quickly as possible. Now, in this match and the last, they were unable to do that, and once we hit that 20-minute mark, these tanks on blue side were just too tanky, and nobody on red team was able to deal with them because this is a poke squad, and pokers aren't going to do well against these sustaining tanks like Tarek and like Maokai. They weren't able to chunk them down fast enough, and what that means is that GameSpy and Alpha, every chance they got, they could just jump into the enemy team, and they didn't have much danger to them. Lovepig was the only one who was a danger there, and Lovepig, there were so many tanks that Lovepig was not going to be able to deal with them. Plus, Jinx having such short range, they could lock her down and secure kills on her very easily with the follow-up of God to Gods. Really well played by Counter Instigate, man. I think it was all about comp this game. I think it was all about the early game not going in PNG's favor, and about PNG having a nice tanky squad and using it as aggressively as they needed to, just fighting all the damn time and utilizing the massive amount of health they had. You're not a true tank if you're not taking tons of damage. You got to take tons of damage if you want to be a real tank, you guys. So well played, really well played by Counter Instigate, really well played by PNG. Congratulations to CI. They tie up the set, and both teams are going to be walking away with 2 points towards their team stats on the day. GG.